All right, good afternoon, traders. Today is Happy Halloween, October 31st, 2024. This is the BYOB Market Wrap Up with me, John Carrigan. I moderate the BYOB Trading Room. Hey, let's go take a look at some charts today. Okay, so 10-minute downtrend on SPY. Obviously right there. See that? 10-minute downtrend. 2-hour downtrend. Continuing. 2-hour downtrend right there, coming right into that anchored VWAP, touching that, see where that lines up. And that one's off the high of the previous plateau. All right, so looking for a bounce out of here. Apple and some other big guy report tonight. I think Amazon reports tonight. Apple and Amazon. All right, so on the daily chart, what do we got? Daily chart, lower high, lower low, closing under prior all-time high anchored VWAP, above another prior all-time high anchored VWAP, closing underneath the bullish trap, underneath the 17 EMA. All right, so it hasn't made a lower low. It's still working. Not liking today's candle, but I got to say, if that's the end of the move, big candle at the end of the move, I'll take it. All right, I think it is. I don't know. We'll see. I think Apple comes in with some really good numbers, and we bull 180 out of here. That's what I think happens. We'll see what happens. Okay. Let's take a look at QQQ. Same deal. Lower low, lower high, closing over under a bearish trap underneath the 17 EMA. Okay, so put that on there, the 17 EMA. Let's try right there on the daily. Okay, so, and the anchored VWAP would be right there. Okay, still making higher lows and higher highs. All right, made a lower low right here, then this one candle. We'll see what happens with that. That could be the beginning of a downtrend. We'll see. All right, so there's QQQ. Let's take a look at FNGU. All right, FNGU breaking that low right there. Could be the start of a downtrend. Price action underneath the midpoint. Still up over the prior all-time high. That's bullish. Possibly starting a new downtrend. Possibly. We'll see what happens. Not in quadrant 4, not in the upper third, but below the midpoint. So we'll see what happens there with that. After Apple reports. QQQ, again, same thing. All right. A little lower low, not in quadrant 4. We could measure that. Yeah, not in quadrant 4, but in the upper third. That's still bullish right there, all right? Underneath the rising 17 EMA, not so much. All right, let's take a look at IWM. IWM, lower high, lower low, closing over the 2024 anchored VWAP. That's bullish, closing underneath the 17 EMA, not so much. Price action, lower high, lower low, closing underneath the bearish trap, and underneath the 17 EMA. Still looking like IWM possibly. No, not yet. Not made a lower low yet. Okay. By QQQ and FNG, made lower lows from that middle candle there. All right, so let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Diamond Dow in a downtrend. All right, because we broke the low right here. Diamond Dow, price action, lower high, lower low, closing underneath bearish trap underneath the 17 EMA. Underneath all-time high anchored VWAP, which would be right here, underneath the prior all-time high anchored VWAP, but still over the midpoint. So I like that, but I don't like a lot of this other stuff. I like to see price action hold the higher ground, okay? They're holding this area right here, just barely, all right? But they made a lower low. So there's Diamond Dow. Let's take a look at our technicals. And we'll shoot over here. Technicals are T2122. All right, so here we are today. All right, we came off the midpoint. straight into the sell zone. The bulls threw us out. We chopped around inside the seller's chop zone, and then made a lower low at the end of the day. Not doing too good on T2123. T2123 price action. Selling from the beginning of the day to the end of the day, looking like an exhaustion candle right there. We'll see what happens. I think they flip it around from right there. They're right on top of minor support. That's a typical place for price action to bounce. Price action underneath a curling 200 SMA, putting in a whole lot more distance now between the falling 200 and the price action right here. So hitting minor support, like to see a bounce back up towards those highs and make a new high. We'll see what happens. T2123. T2123 3 bar, again 3 more red candle bars added. Closing down here in quadrant 1, not a good sign. Like I said, moving up, all right, moving up and then moving back, giving it up, that's just neutral, all right. So failure to hold up there, all right, is really hurting them right now technically. All right, they haven't made any lower lows, so they're still bullish right there. Let's take a look at FNGU. All right, here's FNGU making a lower low right there. All right, so that puts it in a downtrend. Price action underneath the 200 SMA, kind of a flat 200. Had a big bear gap, never got filled. Selling from beginning of the day to the end of the day here. That's all courtesy of Meta and Microsoft, I believe. Okay, it didn't start like this. Everything was bullish up here till Meta and Microsoft reported. So there's the power of a couple of big boys reporting or just coming out with some bad news. And of course, earnings is bad news if it's not what the market wanted. Okay, and this is what you get. All right, price action really ripping to the bottom here. Okay, Intel's cranking up here. Intel's looking like they got some good numbers based on the price action over here to the right. Amazon, I'm not seeing anything come out of Amazon. We'll take a look at Apple in a minute. Alan's got some Amazon earnings are out. All right, I'm going to read it off to you. Earnings, Amazon, 143. I mean, they make so much money, I don't know if it's trillion or billion, but I'm going to say 1.43 billion. Or maybe versus 1.14 per share expected. So they really blew out the numbers, Amazon did. Here we are, 158.88 billion revenue. All right, that's revenue taken in versus 157.2 billion expected. So they beat on revenue. They killed it on earnings. Amazon Web Services, 227.5 billion according to Street Account, and advertising 14.3 billion expected according to Street Account. Okay, so good numbers from Amazon. Okay, maybe the market will turn around. Amazon popped up. We'll have to take a look at that in just a second. We'll go ahead and finish out the market wrap up, and then we'll head over there and take a look at those in the aftermarkets. Okay, see where SPY is. What's SPY doing? SPY's still falling, even though some stuff's coming out good.Maybe Apple really got messed up. I don't know. All right, so there's FNGU. Okay, back to our. I want the other one. Back to our charts. I want that one right there. All right, and we'll take a look at SPY just for kicks on the 5-minute. Yeah, they came down here, so see what happens there. That's not good. They're coming lower. All right, let's take a look at SMH on the daily chart. Okay, SMH on the daily chart, making a lower. Well, if they make a lower low than this, then they're in a downtrend. Okay, pulling back to the all-time high anchored VWAP right there. Okay, closing underneath 17 EMA, not so good. All right, closing underneath this base right here. Okay, if they beat this low out, they'll be in a downtrend. Still making higher lows and higher highs right now. Price action still bullish. All right, still bullish. It's just one candle. They could recover this tomorrow. There's SMH. XLK gonna look the same way. XLK, lower high, lower low, closing underneath the bearish trap. Dangerously close to taking out this low, making lower lows. Price action still up over the all-time high anchored VWAP. We'll see what happens there. XLK about to roll over. SMH about to roll over. All right, let's take a look at XLF. XLF, lower high, lower low, falling out of quadrant 4. It's in the upper third now. It's above the upper half. Underneath all-time high anchored VWAP, but above prior all-time high anchored VWAP. Again, closing underneath the 17 EMA. Not looking too good. All right, we'll pull back. It's still bullish up there. Okay, you're still up there in the upper third. That's bullish, but I'm just saying it's not looking good. If that's the beginning move to another move lower, we'll see what happens. XLI, lower high, lower low, closing right underneath here. Okay, so there's the downtrend on XLI. It's a lot of downtrends starting out right now. Okay, so XLI in a downtrend underneath prior all-time high anchored VWAP, underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP, underneath the 17, but above the midpoint. That's bullish. Maybe a pullback to minor support and then a bounce back up. We'll see. We could see if we get that. All right, we'll find out. XLU. XLU, not too bad. Really? Okay, just underneath the 17 EMA. Still making higher lows and higher highs. Still hanging on to the upper moving up and holding the higher ground up there. Up in quadrant 4, still bullish. So XLU still getting it done. Let's take a look at XRT. XRT in a downtrend now. Okay, took out the low. Price action, lower high, lower low, closing under a bearish trap underneath the 17 EMA, but above the midpoint here of the consolidation. All right, so we'll see what happens with that. XRT now starting a downtrend. Another one, XLI in a downtrend, XRT in a downtrend. IYT, bearish engulfing. Yeah, IYT starting a downtrend, breaking below this low right here. Price action, lower high, lower low, closing underneath the bearish trap, underneath the 17 EMA, but above the midpoint. Okay, so losing, what do they call it? They had an asset, and the asset was they were holding the higher ground, and they're losing it right now. A lot of them are losing it based on today's price action. Okay, no longer in the upper third, no longer in the upper quadrant. Okay, so a lot of them. But look at this, still up over prior all-time high anchored VWAP, but definitely under the all-time high anchored VWAP. Again, put in a lower high and a lower low. That's a downtrend. All right, let's take a look at USO. USO, higher low, higher high, closing over bearish trap over the 17 EMA. Still in a downtrend there, making lower highs and lower lows. If it takes out that high, they'll be in an uptrend. UNG. UNG has now in a downtrend, making lower highs and lower lows. Just beat this low and this low. Price action as closing with a lower high, lower low, closing underneath. Bearish trap underneath the 17 EMA in a downtrend. If I'm not for certain, that might be I'm just looking for the all-time low. So the low there, 1261. The low there, 1257. Almost taking out the all-time lows for UNG. Let's take a look at silver and gold. Silver, still bullish. All right, price action, lower high, lower low, closing under bearish cross, under the 17 EMA. and under prior all-time high anchored VWAP right there. Okay, so price action for silver still bullish, coming back to minor support. Like to see it bounce out of here. Like to see everything bounce tomorrow morning. We'll see what happens. All right, so there's silvers. Take a look at gold. Gold, lower high, lower low, closing inside a bullish trap over the 17 EMA. Still bullish on gold. All right, I'm out of breath. Thank you, traders. Thank you for being here today. I had a pretty good day. All right. I was able to ink out about 17 grand. Mostly tweaking stuff that I had. And selling some calls into the first rally. So here's SPY on the 10-minute. Okay, you can see I called it out. All we need is a 10-minute candle that's not more tail than body and wick. And then we got it on the second one, and it rolled it down all the way into this anchored VWAP right there. And you can see price action made a lower high, failed to make a lower low, challenged the high again, and now we made the lower low. So there's SPY. Thanks, Brad. And that's it for today, guys. All right, until tomorrow. See you guys tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Maybe they get price turned around. I don't know. We'll see what happens. All right, everybody have a beautiful evening. Thank you for being here. I'm going to go check out AAPL. And I don't think news has come out yet. If that's all the news there is, that's good. Yeah, Alan, thanks for posting, as always. Appreciate that.